a more single vineyard Barolo, already extremely good. They make the Riserva from that vineyard that is also single vineyard and fantastic, only made in fantastic vintages. But the Monfortino is the selection of the selection of the selection of the best vintages, the best grapes, and they make a special wine out of it. Hello, bonjour, buongiorno, and welcome to your new Bonheur Private Wines video where we learn together about wine weekly, brought to you by the best wine club in America. I'm your host, Julien Michel, Bordeaux-trained winemaker, but yes, I have worked in Italy as a winemaker as well. In previous videos, we've looked into some of the best wine appellations in the world, what makes them special, and that series, by the way, is still ongoing, so make sure to stay tuned to continue learning. And we've looked at some of the finest and the most expensive wines in the world together. Today, I want to tell you the story about the finest Italian wine, the finest Barolo wine, and the most expensive vino from Italy. This is truly the Romanee-Conti of Northern Italy, a small, iconic cult estate. What is interesting is that it's not really known by all wine people, but true fine wine connoisseurs at least know the name, and they would know a bit about the story. So you should know about it as well, and you will after watching this video. Let's go and look into this. Let's talk about it. Giacomo, Conterno, Monfortino, Barolo, Riserva, yes, that's how you would pronounce the name in Italian, let's call it Monfortino, Barolo, Riserva, stands as a titan in the world of fine wine. This is a Nebbiolo made from the Nebbiolo grape used in Barolo, of course, an expression so profound and age-worthy that it commands the reverence of collectors and critics alike all around the world. A cheap vintage, there's no really cheap vintage as we'll see in a minute, will set you back around $1,200, but we'll talk about price more in a moment because there's ways you can enter the Conterno's universe for way less money. And that amount will get you into 100-point wine territory, and I want to discuss that later too. But for now, a quick storytelling. The Conterno wine scarcity, coupled with its unwavering commitment to traditional winemaking and exceptional quality, cements its position as one of the most sought after special wines on the planet. You see, the legacy of Monfortino began with Giacomo Conterno, who owned a small tavern. Today we'd say he had a wine bar in the region near Nebbiolo, in a small village at the early beginnings of the 20th century. A humble guy he was, who made wine from grapes that he bought. He didn't have his own estate at the time, not a grower back then. Upon returning from World War I, he envisioned a Barolo with unparalleled aging potential. His first Riserva was made in 1920, soon named Monfortino after his village of Monforte d'Alba. This marked the departure from the prevalent style of Barolo at the time that was meant for early consumption. This pioneering spirit of Giacomo, the father, the founder, continued through his son Giovanni, who solidified the estate's reputation for producing rich, powerful, and massively structured wines capable of decades of development in the bottle. Basically, Conterno almost single-handedly, or at least so one could simplify the story, turned Barolo from a modest appellation in a small village in the hills of Piedmont in Italy to a world-class wine. At least he pioneered this movement by creating the first Barolo Riserva wine, full stop. But the story goes on. The mystique of Monfortino is deeply intertwined with its production philosophy. And yes, I'm a winemaker, I can tell you about this. After decades of making wine from grapes that they bought from other growers, the Conternos, now represented by Giacomo's son Giovanni, as we said, bought what has now become the Romanee-Conti of Italian vineyards back in 1978. He bought a vineyard called Cascina Francia in the village of Serralunga d'Alba. What they do in this vineyard that is already exceptional is that when the vintage conditions are extremely good, when it looks like the vintage is going to be great, they select certain grapes for a special cuvée called Monfortino. So from the vineyard in general, they make their Cascina Francia single vineyard Barolo and a Riserva out of it, which is a single exceptional wine made from that exceptional vineyard that sells for around $300 a bottle for the standard Barolo and double for the Riserva. Those are already only made in great vintages, while only some part of this vineyard and selected grapes make it into this ultra high-end Monfortino selection. Only the very best vintages. So this is a selection of a selection of a selection of grapes from the best vineyard in Barolo. Okay, you got the vineyard, they select the best grapes, the best vintages, the best conditions, everything. For the winemaking, the Conterno family has always adhered to ultra-traditional methods. I think since 2015, the blend has also incorporated Nebbiolo from the Arione Cru, a vineyard that they bought a little bit later, further adding to its complexity. The wine then undergoes an extended aging period for 6 to 7, even sometimes longer years in large oak casks, called botti in Italy, a practice that stands out or is more traditional than the quicker maturation in barrel that some producers in Barolo now go through. So this legendary maturation and selection process allows to integrate all the tannins, mature the wine to perfection, have a fantastic base, traditional winemaking, and outstanding expression of the best vineyard in Barolo and one of the best vineyards in the world. The resulting wine is an experience in itself, and yes, unfortunately I couldn't get a bottle. I can't really quite get into that level of pricing yet. Tasting notes often describe a dark, imposing wine with sensuality that is just unfolding in the glass with breathtaking aromas of dried roses, those fall leaves, wild cherries, the plum, the tar from the Nebbiolo, the licorice, espresso coffee, a structure that is formidable, firm tannins providing a backbone with decades of aging potential, yet it possesses a remarkable elegance and balance from that long aging and the terroir that is exceptional. So the hallmark of Monfortino is its power and its nuanced aromatics. It's earthy, its classic Nebbiolo characteristics, hints of oak, a little bit of tobacco, a bit of chocolate, acidity that is vibrant, fresh. I mean, yeah, as you can imagine, the best or the most expensive wine in Italy has got it all. Everything that you can say about a good wine, it is in the Monfortino. On top of that, the aging potential is legendary. These wines can age for decades and decades. Some of the first vintages of the 1980s or late 70s are legendary at this point. This longevity contributes to significantly increase its desirability among collectors who view each bottle as a long-term investment in both pleasure if you want to drink the bottle or potential investment and appreciation if you want to cellar it. As a consequence of this quality that I've described, critical acclaim has been consistently bestowed upon Monfortino across various vintages. This is a wine that gets perfect 100-point scores from renowned critics like Robert Parker before or Antonio Galloni now. 100 points is not unusual for this wine, particularly benchmark years such as 2010 or 2004. These accolades further fuel the demand and solidify the status of this Monfortino wine as a blue chip wine. The market value of Giacomo, Conterno, Monfortino, Barolo, Riserva, that's a mouthful to say, isn't it? Well, it's got a ton of prestige and scarcity. The recent vintages you can buy now are 15, 14, 13, 10 or 8. Remember, it's aged for at least 7 years, so you can't just buy anything before 2015 now, and it's only made in great vintages, so you can't find all vintages. Those go for at least $1,200 a bottle in Europe. In a restaurant and in the US, it's going to be a ton more, and they're very hard to find. More historic vintages that are known for outstanding quality, some of the first vintages of the 80s, are only sold at auctions, the few bottles that are remaining, and those are collector items selling for tens of thousands of dollars, if not in the hundreds. But it's important to know that if you don't have that kind of money and you don't have access to the very top of the highest cuvée, you can get a feel for the taste of this legendary producer by buying their standard single vineyard Barolo that we've talked about, called Cascina Francia. As I said, it's around $300 a bottle, or the Riserva, which is only made in some great vintages for $500, $600. Or they make other single vineyard Barolos from the Cerretta vineyard or the Arione. All those two are other single vineyards that they have that sell for around $250. Or you can just go for non-Barolo wines made from other grapes than Nebbiolo, still traditional from the area, Barbera d'Alba from Conterno, that those you can find for $80 to $100 a pop. So it's relatively affordable from a legendary producer. You can't find any Romanee-Conti around those prices. With Giacomo Conterno, for their simplest wines, you can. And now you know. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a like to support and help us producing more of these videos. I'll see you soon in the wonderful world of wine. Arrivederci. Ciao, ciao.